What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Monday night late night agenda. It is the start of a brand new week, and hopefully the start of a week that we see Liverpool finally dip their toes into the transfer market. I say finally, obviously we brought in Kostas Tsimikas, which does count, but we all know what I'm talking about, and we'll get to that a little bit later on in the stream, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I hope that you're well wherever you're watching in the world. I hope that the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and life's good for you as well, as good as it can be in the world that we're currently living in. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I want to start off tonight by just thanking everybody who came across and joined our Flick chat group. The chat over there is grown day by day by day, and I just wanted to give you guys a little heads up about the Flick chat app in case you haven't used it before. So when you download the app, you get 2 free, they're called cheers or cheer pixels. They're basically 2 free emojis that you guys can use, and when you use those emojis, it's like giving us a free 25p tip. That's what the app does. It gives every new user 2 free cheer pixel emojis that allows you to just send them to us as basically a free tip, something along those lines. Also, as you can see from the past few days, that app has been growing and growing and growing. The poll that we put up's done quite well. The post-match and pre-match chat again before the Community Shield against Arsenal went really well as well. So look, we want to keep that family moving. We want to keep it growing because I think it's the best platform for us to interact with everybody offline. If you haven't yet downloaded the Flick chat app, there is a link gone into the chat there now, and there is one in the description as well. It's free to download, free to use. Just search Flick chat or Flick on the on whether you're on Google Play or you're on the Android. Google Play is the Android store, Craig, or the Apple App Store, I should say, excuse me. And look, it was a difficult weekend, there's no doubt about that, and I haven't been on since my post-match show because I took Sunday off. But I want to just reiterate that I'm glad to see the support that Raheem Brewster's getting, both from fans and of course from his fellow players. After he missed that penalty, you seen straight away Curtis Jones gave him a kiss on the cheek. He was getting hugs and he was being commiserated by his teammates. That's what this team is about. That's what the group that Jurgen Klopp has built is about. We win as a group, we lose as a group, and we have to be that way as fans as well. We have to buy in and do our part. And look, Raheem Brewster will come again. His father was on social media and he was saying exactly the same thing. It takes courage to step up and take a penalty in that situation, and young Raheem will learn from that and he'll take that forward with him. So again, I was delighted to see Liverpool fans rally behind Raheem to let him know that we don't think any less of him. We still love the kid and we still back the kid all the way. So again, from all of us here to Raheem, just keep your head up, pal. There's good times ahead for you with this football club. Now, while we're talking about Raheem Brewster, and it kind of leads me into the transfer talk conversation, I suppose, there has been a lot of interest in Raheem Brewster, and there has been some absolute nonsense put up there from some people on social media as well. I've seen one guy who claims to be a former Sky employee, probably is, I don't know, I've never seen this guy before, claimed that Crystal Palace and Sheffield United are interested in a £25 million deal to take Raheem Brewster to either of the clubs, and that both clubs have no problem paying the fee. Well, of course they wouldn't, because he's an absolute superstar in the making. And let me just reiterate this. Raheem Brewster, as I'm aware of it, is absolutely not for sale this summer or anytime soon. Would he be available for a loan this season? Perhaps. From what I've read, Jurgen Klopp is yet to fully make up his mind, but he has been impressed with what Chris Wilder has done and views Sheffield United as probably the front runners as to who to potentially send young Raheem Brewster on loan to, if indeed he is to go out and get a year's experience. And I think, as I mentioned months ago on the channel, that would be a very good move for him, as would Leeds of course as well. I have a little bit more on Leeds I'll get on to later on, talk about a former ex-Red that they're interested in. You probably say, what the hell has that got to do with Liverpool, Craig? Don't worry, I'll fill in the gaps for you, unless you of course already know. Welcome to everyone in the chat, as I said. Welcome to all our members, welcome to everybody else. If you want to become a member of the family, hit the join button, $4.99 a month. And then this confuses a lot of people, because I've got a few messages that have said, I mean, you're a nice guy and all, but why would I pay $4.99 a month? There's lots of other Liverpool chat that's free. Absolutely. As is all of our content. Everything that we do is 100% free. The membership is there as a way to get little extras. You get the badge beside your name. You get the custom emojis and stuff like that. And most importantly, it helps support small little channels like ours who are looking to, build forward and become the next Anfield Wrap, the next Redmen TV, the next United Stand, or whoever the hell it might be. That's why it's important for all these little bits and pieces, ladies and gentlemen. It's not because we're putting that behind a paywall. No, it's just that people want to support the channel, and they can send that via Super Chat. They can become a member, and the membership is growing, and we do appreciate it because it's the lifeblood for a small channel like ours. Again, all the links in the description. But look, let's get to the sexy stuff, the transfer gossip, because I know that's why we're all here. I'm going to dip into the chat actually first, just to say a few hellos and see how everybody's feeling. Paisley said, "Hi Craig, it's Robbie here, loving the streams, keep it up." Thank you very much, buddy. I hope that you're well. Yeah, I'm always appreciative of anybody tuning in to watch, mate, so thank you very much. Right, what else we got? We need to change our midfield, said Jake Menz. And again, that links into the title of the stream, buddy, and it links into what we're going to talk about with regards to transfers in a few minutes. Is this the start of a little transfer merry-go-round? So there you go. Nageb said, AFTV were celebrating like they'd won the Premier League. Look, I thought it was a bit over the top, personally, but who the hell am I to tell other people how to celebrate? As somebody pointed out to me, Arsenal as a club have been through a bit over in recent years, obviously since Arsene Wenger left, and if they felt like they needed to get a release and celebrate, have at it. I mean, it doesn't really correlate into anything with regard. I heard one of them actually say that we're going to win the league. Now, hopefully that was tongue-in-cheek, because we all know, Arteta's looking promising and all, but they're not going to be challenging for the league. We all know that. I think even the most biased Arsenal fan would know that. Another good piece of news, by the way. I've got lots of good interviews and lots of good guests lined up before the Premier League kicks off. I'm going to be talking about Mark Goldbridge at one point in the next week or two. We've got a couple of journalists that we're lining up. I'm not going to give you names yet. I just want to confirm time slots with them as well. And I mean proper, heavyweight stuff here. So we're really moving forward as a channel. But again, we only get to do these things because you guys keep tuning in. So thank you so much for everything. Don't forget to drop a like on the stream. And of course, as you can see, the subscriber count is inching. The road to 50k really does start here, ladies and gentlemen. So you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button as well. Rob Shepherd, how are you, buddy? Thank you for the first super sticker of the night. I usually try and copy the super stickers, but I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do with that one, Rob. So there you go. Crosby's in the house as well. How are you, Connor? Lovely to see you in. Again, Connor's going to keep you up to date. Any questions on the Flick chat app or anything like that in the chat there, just tag Connor and he'll answer them for you, because I can't answer individual questions as we go through. But look, let's get into the transfer gossip, ladies and gents. Ismail Assar is who I'm going to start off with tonight, and I always dread pronouncing his first name because I usually get these things really, really wrong. I actually had some person comment on the YouTube channel the other day that said to me, "I hate the way you pronounce Wijnaldum." Sorry, it's the way I pronounce it. I know his name's probably Wijnaldum, but I'm pronouncing it Genie Wijnaldum, and if you don't like it, just fuck off, basically. I don't know what else to say to you. So look, Sar, there's been various reports in the UK media over the past day or so that say that we are ready to match Watford's £40 million valuation of their pacey forward. Now, do I believe there's interest there from Liverpool? I 100% know that there is interest there from Liverpool. It's no secret. It's been put out there by many journalists that we've been tracking Sarr. Does that correlate into us just going and paying somebody's asking price for him? That's very unlikely with the way Liverpool go about their business. I mean, I can't imagine that the phone call went something like, how much do you want for Sarr? 40 million sound, we'll do that. Doesn't sound like Michael Edwards, does it? But it does kind of ram home the fact that we are looking for an attacking player, perhaps. And I say perhaps we are. And Sarr is probably the easiest one that we could go and get in this window for a reasonable fee. A lot of people are going to be wanting a Dama, and I understand that, but the difference between I keep banging off my mic here. The difference between a potential 40 or 50 million, even 60 million for a Dama Traore, and I've seen figures ranging from 60 all the way up to 130 for him, and maybe 35, 40 for somebody like Sarr, who's probably a lot easier to get as well. Watford relegated, he probably wants a way out of the club. Obviously he's very good friends with Sadio Mane, international teammate and all that jazz, but will he cut the mustard? Is he good enough to come to Liverpool Football Club? If Jurgen Klopp thinks he is, that's good enough for me, ladies and gentlemen. He is a raw talent. We've seen what he can do. He destroyed us when we played Watford. He scored 2 and set 1 up as well. And I know he probably isn't everybody's number one choice. I know in a realistic world we'd want to be out there going for the Kylian Mbappes, going for the Jadon Sanchos. But we know that in this current climate, in the transfer window we're in, that's just quite frankly not possible. Now, does the manager sit on the squad that we have? Divock Origi, of course, somebody who didn't really get to take part in Austria. I have an itchy nose. Does that mean I'm going to fight with somebody? I think that's what that means. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen with him. Personally, if I was to give you guys a list of players that I think will be available for transfer this summer, Divock Origi, Jadon Shaqiri, Harry Wilson, Marco Grujic, they'd all be on that list. So it's just going to be a case of bodies. You're going to keep hearing that from me over the next few weeks, because that is the case, particularly in midfield. Jurgen Klopp likes to work with a tight group knit of players, or a small group of players, shall we say, and everybody he believes has to have a role, or there's no point in him being there. He won't just go out and sign people for the sake of it. interestingly enough, I did run a poll, and I will go through that later on Twitter, for what position you guys think we need to strengthen in, and I was actually quite surprised by the answer of that poll. But again, Ismaila Sarr, excuse me. I won't lie and say that I know this kid inside out. I have kept track of him because everybody has known about him for the past year or so since he joined Watford from Ron. We do love to dip our toes in the relegated clubs transfer market. We've done it before. Klopp seems to really like it. And there are gems to be had there. There are bargains to be had. He's probably a little bit less further on in his development than Mane was, for instance, when we got him from Southampton. To me, I think Mane is probably one or two more steps ahead of where Sarr was. But there's no doubt that Sarr has potential. He has the potential to be a very good player. But the question comes, would he be somebody who would really come in right now and challenge our front three? Would he be breathing down Mohamed Salah's neck? Would he be tapping on Sadio Mane's shoulder to say, buddy, I'm here waiting to take that shirt off you? I don't know. And therein lies the problem for me. As good as Sarr could be in a year or two, do we have the time to do that? Because look at the front three we have now. Probably the best front three in the world. Certainly an argument to be up there with the best front three in the world. But they don't have anybody really putting pressure on them. No, we might not want to admit this as Liverpool fans, but it's true. Like Mohamed Salah looks over his shoulder, sees Divock Origi there, sees Takumi, who's been very bright, by the way, very good when he came on in the Community Shield, probably helped change that game back for us and obviously got the goal to equalise. He's coming good, but no, but the drop-off is there. It's obvious. It's clear for us to see. And I understand the arguments that say, hey, Craig, it's going to be very difficult, mate, to go out there and get a player who's willing to come in and challenge or sit on the bench because they really have to back themselves. And my argument is, there is no argument for that because we need to rotate. And if we need to rotate effectively, we need to have players of at least somewhat near the same calibre as those that we're swapping around. Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane and Bobby Firmino can't play 60 games in a season. They're going to need to be rested. Now, if we're going to move Raheem Brewster out on loan, then we've got less bodies. If Divock Origi stays at the club, is he good enough? No, probably not, if we're being honest with ourselves. At least not yet. That's where I worry, and that's where I've always worried. That's why we're all so happy with the links to Timo Werner. And as you heard when we spoke to Jan Åge Fjørtoft, the reason that move didn't work out was the financial aspect of it. Klopp wanted the player. It was easy to see how the player could be implemented into our system, even if that needed a slight tweak to get the best out of Timo Werner. But it didn't happen. But it does show that we are interested in adding the right attacking player to our squad. And whether we're going to get that in this window or not remains to be seen. Now, I've been taking a lot of questions and I've been, talking a lot on social media. I actually dipped my toe back into Twitter for the first time this week as well, just to gauge how everybody's feeling. And frustration is the word. I mean, if I was to sum up this transfer window so far for Reds, it's frustration. Kostas Tsimikas looks like a very good piece of business in an area that we absolutely needed to reinforce. Robbo couldn't do everything on his own, and although James Milner can drop back and play left back, it's not ideal for him. And it's not ideal for us either, because you want somebody who's naturally able to bomb down the wings like that and get the crosses in early. And sometimes Milner has to cut back onto his right foot, slows the attack down, and with all the best intentions in the world, he's a solid player at left back, Jimmy Milner, but he's not as effective as he can be in other areas. So it was a no-brainer. When we seen that happening, brilliant. We got the money for Dejan Lovren, went out there and signed Kostas Tsimikas. Now, we have brought in a few more quid as well. Obviously, Ajaria going to making his move to Reading permanent, freed up 3 million quid. And there's a few other bits and pieces as well. There's an excellent thread actually that I retweeted from the Anfield Agenda Twitter account from, I think it's Mo Chatra, the gentleman's name, who went through the financials of everything that Liverpool have done over the past couple of years in far more detail than I could. Obviously, this man has a background in that kind of stuff, and it is there. If you want to go and check out our Twitter account, just have a look at one of our retweeted tweets and the whole thread's there. Brilliant thread, by the way. Fair play. Some amount of effort must have went into that one. Right, what else have we got? What have we got? The Sarr thing? No, Shane, it did not come from the rag, and that's not at least where anybody that I know has seen it. If I want to give you two sources for the whole story that I've seen about Sarr, they would go back to the Mirror and the Metro. They're the two places that I'd seen the Sarr stuff, and it was on Sky Sports transfer gossip page as well. It was in the Echo and a few other bits and pieces. So And also, there are genuine journalists who have told us point blank that we are interested in Sarr, that we are tracking Sarr, that we've tracked him for a while. I'm not sure. I don't want to pin this one on James Pearce, but I think he acknowledged it. Now, if I'm wrong on that, I do apologise. There are so many journals that you're reading every day. It's hard to keep track of exactly who's saying what, and I hate to attribute things to the wrong people. But what do we think, folks? Sarr, good enough? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the chat. If Liverpool went out right now and dropped £35 million on Sarr, would you be happy, or is there somebody else? A thumbs up if you'd be happy, thumbs down if you wouldn't, and think we could do better. Or maybe you think we need to hang off a little bit. Pat Patasar, one of the good friends of Anfield Agenda, how are you, buddy? Said, hey big man, just a little bit to support the channel. Pat, thank you mate, you're so kind on and off these streams. I mean, we WhatsApp every now and again as well, buddy. Very kind of you. You've always been a great supporter of our channel, Pat, so thank you. Right, here we go. LFC, actually no, do you know what? Pat deserves a bit of Newland. There he goes. Look at him go. He's a little thank you to Pat there and to Rob for the super sticker. Newland's still on the party bus. Look at him. I haven't stopped dancing yet. Go on, Newland. Anyway, back to the chat. How are we feeling about Sarr? It seems to be a lot of thumbs up. Some people questioning the price tag. Maybe I hear you. Some people saying, what's this? The City Fisher said, just because there's interest, that doesn't mean we're preparing a bid. £40 million when we can't seem to pay £27 million for Thiago. We can pay £27 million for Thiago. It's... How can I explain this without being a bit of a hypocrite? The money would be there to buy Thiago, but it's about value. And I know that that's not what we want to hear, but if Liverpool can save themselves 3 or 4 million perhaps on Thiago, and it gets over the line, that's okay. If we're penny pinching and we're holding things up and it falls apart again, that's when maybe we start to worry. So I wouldn't necessarily say we haven't got the money for Thiago, nor would I absolutely go balls out and say that we definitely have £40 million ready to match Watford's valuation. I'd be amazed, as I said earlier on, if we go straight in and match any club's valuation of a player. It's not really the way transfer business is done. Right, let's move on to Thiago, because I know that that's what you're all here to talk about. I know that you're not here to see my shiny bald head. You're all here for Thiago news, and I do have a bit, so let me go through it and then we'll see what you all think. As I'm sure you've seen, there's been some talk of Manchester United and Arsenal both being interested in Thiago, mainly Manchester United over the last 24-48 hours, but in my humble opinion, with them looking like they've got a deal sewn up for Donny van de Beek, I can't see them going out there and getting another midfielder in. Nor can I really see Thiago thinking that it's the right project. If I'm being honest with you, it seems to be that Thiago wants Liverpool. Look, it's not even seems to be. Thiago wants Liverpool. It is as clear as that, as simple as that. And Jurgen Klopp, which I will move on to in a few minutes, looks like he's formulating a way to fit Thiago into the Liverpool squad. And I'll go into that in more detail in a couple of minutes. But I basically want to just try and put people's minds at ease. I wouldn't worry about these links to Manchester United, and I particularly wouldn't worry about the few that have been linked to Arsenal. Because, look, he's not going to go to Arsenal. He's not going to want to play in the Europa League. Arsenal isn't the right project at the right time for him. And that's in no way me trying to, belittle Arsenal as a club. It's just not the right time for a player of his ilk to go at this stage of his career and go play in the Europa League. I think that's realistic enough. Now, the United stuff, there's two ways of looking at this. Are United interested in Thiago? Put that over here. Against, perhaps maybe, let's be cynical, Bayern Munich putting Thiago's name out there. They want to try and force Liverpool's hand, obviously, to get some money in for Thiago rather than potentially losing them on a free. It's easy to start dropping Thiago's name around with other clubs. Manchester United, other, pick another name. So it remains to be seen if this is just a game of brinksmanship. If it's, who's going to blink first between Michael Edwards, maybe Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, or whoever else there is at Bayern Munich that takes care of business. I don't really think the interest for Manchester United is as genuine as some people do. I think that it is more just trying to get Liverpool to get their finger out of their backside and get the deal done. If anybody else disagrees with me, I'm of course more than happy to hear your side of things. Please do put it into the chat or into the comment section if you're watching this back later on. I can't see any way or reason Thiago, as I said, would be interested in the Europa League. So United, of course, they do have Champions League football this year. They've also, as I said, looked like they've sewn up around a deal for around 40 million-ish for Donny van de Beek, which is a good piece of business. Very good footballer. Pogba maybe signed a new contract. Obviously, they've got Bruno there as well. And maybe they do feel they need one or two more additions, but we know that they want Jadon Sancho, and that's where I think they're I think that's where they're putting all their marbles this summer to try and get him. Donny van de Beek is a good piece of business. I'm not going to deny it. He's a quality player. I'd seen him linked with Real Madrid for the longest time. He was really close to going there in January, I believe, as well. And that deal didn't happen for whatever reason. So I can't... There's a Thiago too. Let's get into the merry-go-round part of this, because I've been reading and looking up so much stuff on Thiago. I've reached out to friends that I have in Spain. I've reached out to a few journalists to try and get a little bit of information, a few little snippets if I can, not claiming to be in the know here whatsoever. But I've just tried to get the best information I can to give you guys most up-to-date stuff. So, there's news that Barcelona look very likely to be offloading Ivan Rakitic to Sevilla. There's talk of a 3-year contract for him there, thus maybe freeing up, 1, a spot in Barcelona's midfield, and 2, much needed funds for Barcelona and Ronald Koeman. You all know what's going on with the Lionel Messi situation. You've seen La Liga come out and say that they're basically backing Barcelona, that they think the clause in Lionel Messi's contract is valid, and therefore, you know, if Manchester City or whoever else want to get him, they have to pay the buyout clause. Messi didn't report for the testing that Barcelona players had to do this weekend. He was supposed to go and get his pre-training COVID test. He didn't report for that because he believes, or they're trying to push the agenda, that he doesn't have a Barcelona contract, that he's free to walk out because of that clause that you all know about at this point. Now anyway, to circle back to Thiago, to circle back to Barcelona and Liverpool, this could be the start of the merry-go-round. That's certainly a theory that a lot of people have. I've no idea if that theory is true or if it's not. But Barcelona will be offloading players and Rakitic is moving. That much we can say fairly convincingly. Now you move on to the idea that maybe Gini Wijnaldum is going to be the person that Ronald Koeman turns to next. Liverpool and Gini Wijnaldum seem to be at a bit of an impasse at the moment, and it's been made public over the past week or so that at this moment in time Liverpool have no plans to offer Gini Wijnaldum a new contract. That's been put out there in the media by various journalists. You can find that information by having a quick search. But there was something that was posted, and I want to give credit to LFC Transfer Room, who made me aware of this when I seen it on their Twitter feed. And I do get my information from everywhere. I look on Twitter, I read newspapers, I talk, if I can, to journalists, particularly if it's something to do with Spain. I try and reach out to a couple of people I know over there. But there's this guy who, I have to be honest, I'd never heard of before, but he is the real deal. He is a verified journalist. He does work with a couple of TV stations and stuff. I believe he's Barcelona based, has also covered stuff in Brazil as well. So his name is Marcelo Beckler, I believe is how you pronounce it. So he's a Barcelona based journalist, and he was quoted as saying, Liverpool would have to change their tactics for Thiago. I've spoken with a few who have told me that Klopp's idea is to have Fabinho and Henderson with Thiago in front, breaking defences and basically just threading balls through. And that makes sense. That makes sense. I know a lot of you guys have been asking what would happen, who would play where. That does make some sense. We might have to see a little tweaking system. We might have to go to a 4-2-3-1 or something like that. Or maybe just a 4-3-3 with 2 holding midfielders, one of them getting a bit of freedom to go forward when we have the ball, and one of them, like Fabinho, sitting there and shielding the defence. Doesn't mean the end for Naby Keita, of course. Rotation comes in again. But again, this all plays into the fact that it does look like it is a matter of time. We spoke, as I said earlier on, about the fact Barcelona have freed up a space in midfield. We need to do that as well. That's one thing that I think many UK journalists, James, Pearce, anybody, just pick one, they'll all tell you the same thing, that Liverpool have too many bodies in midfield at the minute, and it'll be a case of having to move somebody out, whether that's maybe Grujic or Gini. And it's difficult to talk about this because, if we're being quite frank about it, most Liverpool fans that I've spoken to don't want to lose Gini Wijnaldum, and I would be one of them. I really rate Gini Wijnaldum. He's an extremely versatile midfielder that can play in a myriad of positions throughout that midfield. And it's one of the reasons why Klopp loves him so much, and I'm sure one of the reasons why Ronald Koeman would like to have him at Barcelona. But what does this mean for Thiago? Because that's what this is all about for us, isn't it? I can't guarantee you anything, but all the feelers that I've put out to the people that I do know, and it's not a lot, they seem to suggest that it's a matter of time and that we will see some movement, and we will see at least an approach towards Thiago, an official approach in the coming days. I can't give you a timescale because I'd be lying to you if I did, nor can I say to you that it will absolutely happen. But what I can say, and what this journalist has reiterated, is there's certainly interest there from both sides. And if Klopp's already at a point where he's thinking about how Thiago fits into the system, how he could best use him, that to me is more good news. This, from the little bit of research I managed to do on this journalist, he seems very credible. He seems no reason to be lying. He's got quite a big following on social media. But it's all about money at the end of the day. So Liverpool apparently value Gini Wijnaldum, for that gentleman who doesn't like the way I pronounce his name, around 25 million euro, is apparently about 22, 23 million pound. And we know that Bayern Munich want 30 million euro for Thiago, which is, I think, about 27 million pound, depending on the exchange rate. From Liverpool's point of view, it's about getting value for money. So look at it this way. Liverpool know that they can get Gini, or they can get Thiago for free. We could sign him on a pre-contract in January, keep Gini Wijnaldum for the rest of the season, make sure that Thiago knows that he will have a place at Liverpool come next summer, keep Gini, let him run down his contract, and then not have to spend any money. Gini moves on, we don't get anything for him, we get Thiago, it doesn't cost us anything bar whatever it takes to give him a signing on bonus or whatever it is. But that's probably not the right way of going about this, from my humble opinion. We do need a shake-up. We've been stale towards the end of the season. We weren't great in the Community Shield. That was there for everybody to see. Now, there's reasons for that. We have to take into account the fact that Liverpool do, maybe more than a lot of other clubs, depend on the fans to get behind them. We've seen Anfield in many a day and many a night turn a game, whether it be a crunching tackle from Robbo or whatever you might see. The fact that we've been playing in front of no crowd, same as every other club, by the way. I'm not trying to say Liverpool have it any different or any harder, but what I am saying is that the impact of Anfield's crowd can up our performance. It's done it many a time. Just look back to the Barcelona game, look back to the Borussia Dortmund game in the Europa League. That is a factor, and that's something that we have to consider as well with regards to the drop-off in performance. Then there's the fact that the players were worked really hard by Jurgen Klopp over in that Austrian training camp and look a little bit leggy maybe against Arsenal. The plan and I suppose the priority is to be fresh and ready to go on September the 12th when Leeds rock up to Anfield for that 5:30 kickoff, and that's when you want to be peaking and that's when you want your players to be ready. We lost the Community Shield and penalties last season and look what happened. We went out and had an absolutely phenomenal season, breaking all kinds of records and ending that 30-year wait for the Premier League or the English title, whichever way you want to say it. So yeah, look, it is, again, a situation of frustration. I get it. I'm sick of coming on every day and saying, be patient, be patient, be patient. And I'm going to talk about Gini, but then I want to talk more about the actual situation we find ourselves in with regards to the money, with regards to being patient, and with regards to sometimes just being sick of hearing the words next summer or we would have had money, but... And I'll get on to that in a few minutes. The word coming out of Spain is that Barcelona are confident that they're going to have a free run at Gini Wijnaldum as well once we get a deal for Thiago sorted out. So maybe part one of the jigsaws after coming into place, Barcelona freed up a place. Now it's who blinks first. Do Barcelona come to Liverpool, put in an offer for Gini, or do they sit back knowing that if we go in for Thiago, that they know that they might get Gini a little bit cheaper? And don't be foolish about this. It's easy for us as mere mortals to throw around 3 million here, 4 million there, but it's real money at the end of the day, and every penny that goes out from Liverpool Football Club is less money that we have to do other stuff, whether that's pay staff, whether that's to improve the Annie Road end, whether that's to pay down the debt of the main stand, which we have done, by the way, and that's part of Mo Chatra's brilliant thread on Twitter. It goes into more detail about how we're paying down that loan a little bit quicker as well. That all has to be taken into account. So if it does take a little bit longer and we get it over the line, great. I think we'll all be happy. What has us all on tenterhooks, and let's be honest about this, is that we've seen this before. Nabil Fekir didn't get over the line. We've seen it with Timo Werner. That didn't get over the line. And if this is number 3, if this is the 3rd time that we've been so close, but yeah, we get spun some PR story and it doesn't happen, it's just going to lead to an absolute summer of frustration. And I won't say that all the good work that Klopp and the players have done will be undone, because that would be just nonsense. What they've achieved as a group has been absolutely phenomenal. But we do have to capitalise on it. The manager knows that. None of us can sit here in good conscience and think that Jurgen Klopp looks at a group of players and go, that's it, not touching them for the next 3 or 4 years. They're all the finished product, that's the end of it, we've got some kids coming through. No. Just think back to other years. Think back to when he came in. You can look at quotes from Jurgen Klopp that said he likes to refresh it every year, bring in 1 or 2 new faces, increase competition, just freshen things up a little bit around the training ground as well, introduce 1 or 2 more bodies. And I think it's naive of any Liverpool fan to think that he doesn't have players in mind that he wants. I'm going to move on to talk about one or two more transfers, but I'm going to end up and finish the stream, and I want you guys to have big input on this one. We're going to have a conversation around the money. We're going to have a conversation around the owners and how we're all feeling. And I want everybody to feel free to really share their honest opinions on this. Don't shout anyone down. We'll hear all sides of the story. I'll read out comments pro and anti, and we'll try and come to a conclusion amongst ourselves as a group of fans. Right, so the last bit of transfer news, and I said this earlier on as well. One of our former players, Luis Alberto, has been linked with a potential summer move from Lazio to Leeds. Lazio really want to tie him down to a new deal, but should he move on this summer, whether that be to Leeds or anywhere else, Liverpool stand to make a fantastic 30% because of the genius that is Michael Edwards. When the club sold Luis Alberto to Lazio for a very reasonable £4.3 million, Michael Edwards inserted a 30% sell-on clause into that contract, meaning if he was to move to Leeds this summer, let's throw a number out there, 25 million, Liverpool would get 7.5 million, I think, or maybe it's 30% of the profit, I'm not sure. But either way, it's again the genius of Michael Edwards, and again another few million. All these few millions add up. Few million here, few million for moving Ajari on, few million there. Then we start to get to amounts of money that help us go into the market. Boring, I know, but it is the reality of where we are in this world with the pandemic that we're all living with. So yeah, so look, let's get into the chat now, see how you're all feeling about transfers. I have a little bit else to talk about. I want to talk about the BBC documentary as well that was on last night that I'm sure a lot of you guys watched. Right, what have we got in the chat? Right, Leicester won the league in 15-16. That's brilliant. We're well aware of that one. It's the only time I'll turn on the owners is if the silverware stops coming, said Big Cheese the Lord. And that's a fair point. Like, do you know what I mean? That is a fair point. Like, we did nothing last summer, didn't really bring in anybody new, but our performances improved, or at least we won the league. We didn't go as far in the European Cup as we would have liked, of course, getting knocked out by Atleti. And I'm not going to lie to you, when I seen that little mini tournament at the end of the summer there that we all got to watch, I really wished we were a part of it. And I did feel like a kick in the knackers that we weren't over there. But yeah, I think that is a fair point on the owners. But I'll move on to that at the end of the stream because I do have more stuff to get through. It's a packed show, folks. Pearl said FSG must act fast. CD said I'm not feeling good about it. The money is probably there, but the reluctance to take risk is inevitably frustrating. Year after year, excuse after excuse. What's going on? What's it going to be next year? We do know one thing about the owners, in that they are cautious and they always like to look ahead, secure the finances and make sure that Liverpool Football Club won't ever get into the situation that we were in under the previous owners, where the Royal Bank of Scotland were hours away from maybe calling in that debt and technically putting Liverpool into administration or bankruptcy, and it probably wasn't ever going to come to that, but none of us want to live through that again. We have owners right now that have done a lot of great stuff. You don't need me to go through it, you know the list. They've done a lot of good stuff. They put us in a very secure financial footing, but are they a little bit too cautious? Is there maybe an argument to say just have a roll of the dice? Do you know what I mean? Trust the manager. A manager that has got very little wrong in the transfer market. I'm still fuming that Yannick Fjortov said to us that Jurgen Klopp wanted Timo Werner, and Timo Werner, we were told no because of the financials. Everything was done there. Timo Werner wanted to come to Liverpool. You heard him speak publicly about the club. Klopp spoke publicly about liking Werner, and it didn't happen. And that worried me. That really fucking worried me. And I'm sorry for cursing because I'm trying to keep my cursing to a minimum. That the owners didn't back the manager in that circumstance, from what we've been told or what we've been led to believe. I always, in my stupidity, thought that Jurgen Klopp was a realistic manager. Comes in, he knows what's going to be available to him. He knows that he's not going to have a blank checkbook. But he doesn't ask for the sun, the moon and the stars. He only ever looks for people that, one, he thinks there's value in, and two, he thinks can improve the squad and add going forward. I also want to bring your mind back to Klopp saying when he came in that he said he'll leave the club in a better position when he leaves than when he arrived, and I've no doubt about that either. But it is frustrating. It does seem like I've had great fun mocking Manchester United fans on social media and stuff over over them being unable to close anything, over them being unable to get deals done and dragging their heels. And I love when Liverpool just announce a transfer out of nowhere. We all remember the Firmino transfer. We're just sitting there and then all of a sudden he's on a plane and he's on his way. That's great. But some other stuff is being played out publicly whether Liverpool wanted to or not. and we find ourselves in this position of absolute frustration yet again. And it is frustration. I would probably be a lot more pro the owners than I would be anti the owners, because I'm very happy with what they've achieved at the football club, but I don't like us standing still, and I don't want us to stand still. And do I think that COVID has been a bit of an easy get out of jail free card for them? That really wouldn't be fair of me to say until the window is over. But when the window's over, if we haven't done anything, it's too late. So therein lies the frustration, folks. I feel it, you feel it. The waiting game is a horrible one, but it's always fun if the waiting game pays off. But we've been once bitten, twice shy recently, haven't we, with the Fekir and the Werner situation. So that's why we're all a little bit worried, if we're being honest with ourselves. I mean, we trust the manager, we trust the scouting, we trust that we're looking at the right players. I mean, I've yet to meet anybody who doesn't believe that Klopp will get it right when he brings a player to the football club. I mean, I think his transfer record, the scouting, the system speaks for itself. So yeah, how are you guys feeling about it? FSG are too scared to spend their money. Look, FSG do not spend their money. Let's be quite frank and open about this. They spend the club's money. Well, they are the owners, so you know what I mean. Like, they don't dip into their own pocket. They want the club to be self-sustaining, and that's sound. We knew that when they came in. We knew not to expect different. But the real question lies when we as fans ask, where's the money? Where is the money? We will get answers. The accounts are published. They are available for you to go and look at. And as I said, that thread from Mo is brilliant on Twitter. So I really do urge you to check that out, because that goes into the financials much better than an idiot like me could ever do. But it does seem strange. You're going to point out Chelsea to me. You're going to point out Manchester City to me. You may even point out Manchester United to me and say, Craig, they're dipping their toe in the transfer market. Leeds have only just come up, and they're going out there and they're signing players for record transfer fees for them as well. Yes, but they are rolling the dice. Their owners are gambling on the success of this. They are doing what FSG don't like to do, which is taking risks. Roman Abramovich, we know, as an owner, every now and again doesn't mind shelling out 150, 200 million quid of his own money to the football club. And we don't have owners that do that. We have owners that like to work from within our means. So the real question, I suppose, is what are our means? And that therein lies the question that I can't give you an answer to. Raul said, LFC are planning to work towards meeting the asking price of 40 million for Sarr from Watford. Is this correct? Needs your opinion. Touched on it earlier on, Rahul. There's been a couple of newspapers, the Mirror and I think the Metro, have ran that story that you're talking about. We do have an interest in Sarr. I can't believe for 1 minute we're going to go and pay the asking price immediately for any player. They paid about, I think it was somewhere between 25 and 30 million quid for Sarr when they bought him from Ron last summer. Even though they're relegated, they're probably going to want to make a few quid in them, and that's fair. They've improved them as a player, even in a world where transfer fees are probably going to be knocked down a little bit because of where we are in the world. There is interest. It just remains to be seen whether we pull the trigger on it or not. And again, therein lies the waiting game. Hi Craig, I've just come back from a 5-a-side game. My mates me won 15-10. Well in. Always good to get out there and kick a ball around, mate. Get some exercise. Brand new training centre would have, I don't know what this is, but he's saying in the budget. Look, we are spending 50 million quid on a new training facility at Kirby, a training facility that Jurgen Klopp approached the owners about because it was his brainchild and they gave him that 50 million quid. But at the same time, people will say that we just went out there and spent 50 million quid. We also recouped some money from the sale of Melwood, or will be recouping some money from the sale of Melwood to a developer. So I don't know how much that is. I haven't got the figure in front of me, but we have recouped some of the 50 million quid that we will be outlaying for that fantastic new training facility at Kirby. And it will, of course, also increase the value of the club because there's another asset on the club spreadsheet, or whatever the wording is for that. And that's okay, and that also, as far as I'm aware, doesn't come into the calculations for FFP, although FFP looks like it's pretty much dead at this moment in time. Right, what else we got? More of your comments. We didn't sell Melwood for free, though. Absolutely never said that we did sell it for free. We sold it to a developer, mate. I just don't have the figures in front of me what we got for it. Confidence in Gomez. Do we need a new centre back? Right, as I said to you, and that leads me in nicely. Face in space. That's a bit of a mouthful. The centre back situation. So as I told you guys, I put up a vote on Twitter and I asked the question: what position do you think is a priority for the Reds to strengthen during this window? I gave 4 options: centre back, attack, midfield, or other. And I was quite surprised by the answer. With 40% topping the poll, Liverpool fans that we surveyed, and there was over 1,000 people took part in this vote, they picked attack as the one area that they think Liverpool need to go and strengthen before any other in this window. In second place came midfield with 37%, and third place centre back with 21%. And that shocked me a little bit. I know I've pitched playing Firmino as a centre back to you guys as a potential option, but realistically, with Matip being, let's say, injury prone and Joe Gomez having his fair share as well, there is an argument to say that centre back should be top of our list because we've moved on Dejan Lovren and we only have 3 ready to go senior fully established centre backs at the club right now in Van Dijk, Gomez and Matip, 2 of which I've said have had injury problems over the past 3 years. So if one of them gets injured and we're down to the bare bones then with 2, you can see the argument. That's why I was shocked to see centre back come in third place in that vote. My own one probably would have gone centre back, forward, midfielder. But the Thiago factor, I think, skews all of this because we know that Thiago's there. We've seen how good he is. We've seen how he led Bayern Munich along with obviously the rest of that great team to the Champions League this season. And that has us all thinking that we absolutely out and out need a midfielder above all else. Well, let's cancel this and say that Thiago doesn't come and Gini stays. Then we're still full in midfield. So for me, the priorities are centre back and forward. But the Thiago Gini thing, if it comes off, brilliant. I'm all for it. Sign me up. I don't want to see Gini go, but if we lose Gini to get Thiago, I'd be happy enough with that. I'd be sad to see Gini go, but it would give us a little bit of a shake-up. It would give us another option for Klopp, as we spoke about earlier on, what he looks like he's lining up Thiago to do if he comes to the club. Fabinho, Henderson behind, Thiago ahead looking to unlock defences. So look, let me know what you guys think about it before we go on to talk about a few other things. What if VVD gets injured? Yes, that's definitely a topic, Niels, that none of us want to think about, mate. Absolutely none of us. I mean, yeah, it's frightening to think of that. But then again, it doesn't matter who we bring in. If Virgil van Dijk gets injured, we're going to notice it in the team. Do you know what I mean? He's one of the best centre-backs in the world, if not the best centre-back in the world. So do you out there and bring in a Koulibaly just in case? My answer to that would be no. There probably is better value to be had. You know who I want. Ben White is the person I want Liverpool to go and sign. Even if that is 30 million quid. I know we probably won't be spending that, but to me, he just seems like a perfect fit for Liverpool and the style of football. Got the right age profile as well. Gained experience with Leeds, albeit not in the Premier League yet. But this kid is going to come through in the next couple of years. I mean, if Brighton manage to keep hold of him, which it looks like they're trying to, they're going to have a very good young centre-half on their hands. So I'd like to see us go for him. We've been linked to Diego Carlos. The links to that guy from Real Betis have gone very quiet. Monday, I haven't seen much on him lately. There was some vague talk of Diego Carlos the other day, but will we pay 40 or 50 million pound for a 27-year-old Diego Carlos? At least I think he's 27, whom has an awful bang of Dejan Lovren about him, if I'm being honest with you. I've watched them play and he just seems to remind me a lot of Lovren in that he can do some really good stuff and he can do some very silly stuff as well. So I'd rather spend the money elsewhere if we're talking that kind of money. Right, more questions. Steve said we should put in a cheeky bid for Pats and Daka, be cheaper than Sarr and have a good working relationship with the Red Bull teams. We absolutely do have a good working relationship. I mean, and Jesse Marsch has done a very good job with that Salzburg team, and we've seen what Daka did to us when we played against them. Fantastic, particularly the second goal. I mean, really intelligent running to get across the front of Virgil van Dijk like that and knock it in past Alisson. So yeah, there's a conversation to be had there. I'm not the best person to talk about Daka because he only came to light to me recently. I'm not going to tell you any lies. I didn't even know the guy before 10 days ago. Centre-back situation is perfect for the youngsters to develop, said Trevor. Again, buddy, it's a fair point and one that I absolutely understand. And we've some very good young centre-backs at the club. Sepp van den Berg, Kian Hoover may go out on loan this season. We've Nat Phillips, who's still a Liverpool player as well. Of course, Billy Cometio, who has been getting one-on-one coaching for Jurgen Klopp in that position over in the Austrian training camp. Somebody who the club obviously feel is a first-teamer, but is he a first-teamer just yet? I don't know. It's a lot of pressure to ask, man. If we picked up an injury to Virgil van Dijk and, let's say, Joel Matip, would you be happy going out to play Manchester City with Joe Gomez and Billy Cometio there, or Joe Gomez and Nat Phillips there? I can't say I would be. Not yet. Not if we're looking to be going out there and challenging for all the trophies. I think we need to get at least an experienced centre-back, maybe even an ageing experienced centre-back for a year or two to allow the younger players to come through. What have we got? Scotty said, Craig, is Thiago going to come? I like the straightforward nature of the question, Scotty. Perhaps. Would I bet on it? Yes, I would. Is it nailed on? No, nothing in football is nailed on until he's standing there signing a contract holding up a Liverpool shirt. What about Upamecano? A very good centre-back, obviously an RB Leipzig player, linked to a load of clubs. Again, another player I'm surprised hasn't moved sooner. Maybe he's happy in Leipzig, I don't know. I'd seen him linked to Chelsea, I'd seen him linked to various other clubs in the Premier League. And it's a good shout. It's a very good shout, but not somebody I've seen any links to. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we aren't tracking. I might be surprised if we're not tracking most good young players in every position. I mean, our scouting system is phenomenal, so it is a good shout. But again, not one I've seen linked, unfortunately. Wonton Super Noodle said, if it wasn't for Klopp, we wouldn't be where we are. 100% agree. No argument whatsoever. The owners have played their part, absolutely. But Jurgen Klopp is the reason why we are where we are. Jurgen Klopp has the pulling power. Jurgen Klopp has the charisma to get the best out of the players. Jurgen Klopp has come in, transformed the entire football club, and made everybody smile and everybody happy. So yeah, you're not going to get any argument from me about that one. Without Klopp, we definitely wouldn't be where we are. Craig, what's your thoughts on story Manchester United are looking to hijack Thiago deal? Spoke about it earlier on, Tom. There's two ways of looking at this. One, it's Bayern Munich kind of just dropping Manchester United's name out there to try and hurry Liverpool along to get an offer for Thiago. And two, the potential that Manchester United may well be interested in Thiago. They look like they're signing Donny van de Beek from Ajax. They want Jadon Sancho, we know that. So will they go in for Thiago? Will Thiago want to go there? We know his first choice is Liverpool, so if he does go elsewhere, it will only be because Liverpool have told him emphatically, we can't do it, mate, or it's not going to happen. So I wouldn't worry about the Manchester United links. It's in our hands. Maybe United will do what Frank Lampard did. Frank Lampard was, constantly ringing, talking to Timo Werner, convincing him of how he'd fit into the Chelsea lineup, and that kind of swayed, I think, Timo Werner's thoughts, and he was just fed up waiting for Liverpool. Maybe the same will happen with Thiago, although I hope not. I just don't see the links as being really legit. Even though, there's been spoken about, I think, by Yanag Fjorthoff and a few other people close to the player and close to Manchester United. I don't know. But look, we'll ask Mark, maybe, if it still hasn't been resolved when Mark comes on for a chat. What else have we got? I would have taken Thiago Silva for experience. Yeah, I get that, absolutely. I mean, a 1 year, 2 year deal for Thiago, I could see anybody making sense to do. But I suppose the real question is how much wages would he be on each week? Would that justify being a fourth choice centre back, or paying that for a fourth choice centre back? We already have one of the highest wage bills in the league, so I don't know if we could add a centre back at, I'm sure he would want in excess of 100 grand a week. I don't know how much he signed on for at Chelsea. I haven't actually heard the number. You missed Liz's super chat. No problem. Let me scroll back up. There you go. Thank you, Liz, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. My blood pressure can't take another Lovren. None of our blood pressures could take another Lovren. I loved how much Dejan loved the football club. Absolutely loved that. No denying that. He's taking free kicks, by the way, now over in Russia, in case you haven't seen that, for Zenit. But yeah, we don't need another Dejan. There can only ever be one Dejan Lovren. Let's put it that way. Jimmy Duggan has gone quite a different way. He said, we've had a few poor games and people freak out. Klopp will get the mojo flowing again. Keep the faith. Minamino was coming good and some super young lads on the up. We are the champions. It's a very fair point, Jimmy. And yeah, I mean, I think we all have faith in Klopp. I think the worry comes... Let me put it to you this way. If we were going into this transfer window and we knew that all the clubs around us weren't going to be able to strengthen because we're all in the same boat, football clubs' finances are screwed around Europe, and we're sitting here thinking there'll be a lot of trades, there'll be a lot of players getting released on free deals, there'll be a lot of swaps and stuff like that, then I'm with you. But when we turn around and we see our direct rivals going out there to strengthen, when you see Manchester City being linked, and as a realistic link to Lionel Messi, when you see Manchester United being linked to Jadon Sancho, when you see them going out and getting Donny van de Beek, when you see Chelsea going on an absolute shopping spree and they still have to get Kai Havertz, that's a matter of time. They've got Timo Werner, they've got Ziyech, they've got Pulisic, they made the Kovacic deal permanent as well, and I've probably forgotten some players that they've signed. They've signed Thiago Silva, and a couple more. I think, didn't they sign somebody else that they sent back out on loan immediately or something that I'm forgetting about? But if that was the case, then, which it is the case, then we start to think, shit, can we keep relying on Jurgen Klopp? Can we keep just putting the pressure on the manager to get the best out of everyone that's there? And we will be challenging, no matter what happens. If we don't sign a single player, we'll be challenging this summer, but it's not a matter of just challenging. It's a matter of wanting to go out there and actually trying to defend that Premier League title that we worked so hard to get for the first time. So I'm as frustrated as anybody else. I'm not going to lie to you. As each day goes by, my frustration levels increase like everybody else's. I hope to wake up every day, look at my phone and see an alert to see that Liverpool have broken through in contract negotiations with X, Y or Z, and that there's players coming in. The right players. I don't just want us to go out there and sign anybody. I agree that the research has to be done. But there are players available. We could go through a list here and we could name 10 or 15 players less than 40 million quid that Liverpool could go out and buy that could help our squad, that could put real pressure on the front three, that could give us good backup in the centre-back area. And then look, midfield, I wonder if Thiago wasn't a thing, would we be even talking about midfield right now? We were linked to Houssam, of course, and still are. Leon are tricky to negotiate with, and aside from him, I've not really seen us linked to any midfielder. So I wonder if the Thiago thing hadn't come about, would any of us be sitting here saying, do we need to go out and get a midfielder? I think we'd be having the conversation about a forward and a centre back personally. You forgot Chilwell and Sarr. Do you know what I mean? I'm randomly naming off Chelsea players here and I forget Ben Chilwell. A very good signing for them. So yeah, they're just, our rivals are strengthening. They're strengthening, and they're strengthening big time. Roman Abramovich is rolling the dice. It is a bit funny to see that Frank Lampard was lauded for being this coach that had to work to bring young players through and brought through some good young players, and all of a sudden he's the future, he's the hope, he's going to bring through the next generation of Chelsea. Nope, as soon as the checkbook was ready, he was out there spending Abramovich's money, bringing in some proven experienced players, and I suppose the belief in the youth sort of goes out the window a little bit. What are your thoughts on United signing Van de Beek? Very good piece of business. I've said it before, I do like him as a player. Any club that gets Donny van de Beek is getting, in my opinion, a very tidy midfielder indeed. And I did think he would end up at Real Madrid, but Spanish clubs don't really seem to have that much money at this moment in time. Barcelona, you can see absolute shambles, trying to move players on. Messi is just making a holy show of the club at this moment in time. So yeah, interesting. I've heard rumours that Mane had a falling out with Klopp and wants to leave. Bullshit. Simple as that. Complete and utter nonsense. I know I tried to stay away from this topic, but it looks like I'm going to have to broach it. You've seen the stories out there. Lincoln Sadio Mane with I can't even believe I'm saying these numbers. £90 million move to Barcelona. Really? £90 million for Sadio Mane? Does anybody in their right minds think that Liverpool will sell Sadio Mane for £90 million? One, the thought of selling Sadio this summer is unrealistic, but when you start throwing around a figure of £90 million for one of the best forwards in the world, You can just kiss my ass, quite frankly. That doesn't even buy his left leg as far as I'm concerned. Sadio Mane, if we ever were to sell him, the numbers would certainly be north of 120 million for Sadio. Probably 150 million if we're being realistic. So, and also, where the hell are Barcelona getting the money to buy Sadio Mane? If Messi moves on, which is going to be a very, excuse the choice of phrase, messy situation, that's going to take time. And Sadio Mane signed a new contract in 2018, if my memory is correct. Will he be offered improved terms? Probably. Does he deserve them? Absolutely, he deserves them. And we've got 3 years left on Sadio Mane's contract, so we're in a very good position. I've yet to hear anything that suggests Sadio Mane is unhappy at Liverpool. But there's always these bullshit rumours out there linking all of our front three to various clubs in Spain. But they all look happy to me at this moment in time. I would say Sadio go for 150 million. Kai Havertz is worth the same as Sadio. I know, just even say that, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Probably the best winger in world football right now, said Alejandro. That's what I mean. That's the type of nonsense that's been put out there in the media that we as football fans are supposed to believe. Now, there are the usual suspects, you know, these very random fucking websites that pop up every transfer window that drop names out there that just isn't realistic. And sometimes you get maybe Barcelona friendly press, maybe the board there are looking to leak stuff out to appease the fans over the Messi situation. But I promise you this much: if Liverpool sell Sadio Mane this summer to anybody for £90 million, I will do a watch-along the day after the transfer window ends in a fucking Manchester United shirt. That's how confident I am that Sadio Mane ain't going anywhere this summer, let alone for 90 million quid. Liverpool need a proper midfield. That was lacking in the game against Arsenal. When you say proper midfield, Phil, I know you're a United fan there from your name. What do you mean proper midfield? We've got, in my opinion, a pretty good midfield. We've got Firmino, Hendo, we've got James Milner, we've got Gini Wijnaldum. See, I said it right again. We've got Curtis Jones coming through. We've got a very good midfield. We've got Marco Grujic there. We've got Naby Keita there. We've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain there. So we already have, in my opinion, a tidy midfield. And the most flashy midfield might be a midfield full of people who work hard and allow us to filter the ball out wide and attack in those areas. It mightn't be the most creative of midfields in the world, and that may be where Jurgen Klopp's looking to tweak things. Maybe we've become a little bit too predictable at times. Maybe teams know that we're either going to play a long diagonal ball from our centre-back or that we're going to force the ball into a wide area and look to play it in. Where I get frustrated in those situations is why we're playing crosses into the box, that we're asking our forwards to compete with centre-backs aerially for crosses. That to me doesn't make any sense. The ball either has to be lashed across the 6-yard box low or pulled back waiting for a third man run on the edge of the box for me in these situations, and that's when I get frustrated. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, it is pretty much time for me to finish the stream, but you know, I don't want to finish the stream. I feel like I've got loads more to talk about. As always in these situations, it is your show. Let me know, do you want me to fuck off? Or do you want me to carry on and do another 15 or 20 minutes? Because I've got more stories to talk about and more information. I can hang off till tomorrow if you want, but as always, give me a thumbs up if you want me to carry on, and give me a thumbs down if you want to wait for tomorrow night. I'll do whatever you guys want to do. A couple of people have asked us, by the way, about Hot Mic as well. We have a phone call tomorrow with the guys who run Hot Mic, so we'll have more information for you on whether or not we'll be using Hot Mic for the season ahead. Let me just give you a bit of a heads up on the Flick Chat app. I cannot tell you guys enough how much we will be using that app this season. Flick Chat is going to allow us to do post-match stuff and bring Flick Chat into our post-match show. We're going to be putting up polls on there, and every time before Liverpool play a competitive game, there's going to be a prediction board there. You're going to be asked 5 questions, and when you get one of those questions right, for instance, who'll win, Liverpool or Arsenal? What score will it be? Who'll score the first goal? And there's a leaderboard up there. I'm currently in tied 8th place with about, 100 other people on 2 out of 5 right. That's something that's going to be on the Flick app. It allows us to just randomly put stuff up there. We can share breaking news stories, and it's all completely free. It is basically Discord on steroids, and it's absolutely amazing. We love it. And we want you guys to give it a try because we think you'll love it as well. Check out the link in the description if you want to join Flick Chat, or just look for Flick Chat. But if you do go through the link in our description, you join our Flick Chat group. Don't forget you get your 2 free cheers, as they're called. I call them emojis that you can share as well. Anyone, and I mean anyone, that has tried out this app from our subscribers has given me nothing but positive feedback. Completely free to use, completely free to download. What age you are, it doesn't matter. Have a look on the Flick Chat app. If your parents allow you to do it, of course, if you're a youngster, I'm not getting involved in that, but it's going to be a massive part of our interactive nature moving forward. There's so much more to come as well, and we want to get the numbers up on the app because we don't want anyone to miss out. If we're not online, if I'm not streaming, you can catch me on the Flick Chat app. You can send me direct messages on there, you can ask me questions, you can vote in our polls and do everything that we want you guys to do. So yeah, there you go. Right, let me see, do you want me to carry on or not? Yeah, I think we can safely say carry on. Cool, right, keep talking. A little bit about the documentary. Did anybody see the documentary last night? The BBC documentary. It was an excellent documentary about the 30-year wait for Liverpool to win a Premier League title. It was lovely hearing from managers past and of course present in Jurgen Klopp. If you didn't have a chance to watch it, I highly suggest that you do. It's fantastic. If you've got the iPlayer, you'll be able to watch it. If you're like me and you don't have access to the BBC iPlayer, you might have to look elsewhere for it. I recorded it. I've already watched it 3 times between last night and today, and I shit you not, 3 times. Rafa's on there, Gerard Houlier's on there, Brendan Rodgers. In fact, every manager that's still living and breathing that has managed Liverpool Football Club was on there talking about the part that they played, leading us all the way to when Jordan Henderson lifted that beautiful trophy above his head at Anfield. So yeah, it's a very good documentary. Well done to BBC and those who made it. It's nice to get some insight. John W. Henry's on there as well. Kloppo speaks about the news when he was told that Liverpool were interested. Ian Ayre's on there talking about the secret meetings that they had with Jurgen Klopp in law offices in New York. It's brilliant. Very well made. And also brought out some saltiness in opposition fans, particularly I think a few City fans who said, where the fuck was their documentary? The reason you didn't get a documentary made, fellas, is because nobody gives a shit about Manchester City. You haven't got enough people watching to make it interesting for them to go and make the documentary. And there's another reason as well, if we're being honest with it. Nobody cares about your success because it's bullshit success, it's bought success, unlike Liverpool's success or Leicester's success or United's success that was done the right way. I don't think many people have much respect for the way City have gone about a lot of stuff. I think that's fair to say. I know I certainly have fuck all respect for the way they've gone about things. Right, probably would have won the league with Houllier if he hadn't had his heart attack. Yeah, it was. You could see the emotion in Houllier throughout it. You could see his love for the club, as you could with every manager. Roy Evans, I thought, spoke very well on the documentary as well. Brendan Rodgers, and they all said the same thing, that Kloppo was just the perfect fit. He is the one. Even John W. Henry said it was one of the most exciting phone calls he'd ever received when he got the call that they were going to be able to have that meeting with Jurgen Klopp in New York. So again, highly recommend giving it a watch. What have we got? Liverpool versus Leeds prediction, said Giants Nation. Way too early. And that's another reason to join the Flick Chat app. You'll see that there. We'll be asking you for your predictions. We'll be giving you the up-to-date news. And on the Flick Chat app, you get all the statistics from the game as well. So you can have live chat going on there during the game. We'd like you to be in here, obviously. But you get all the statistics from every game as well. So well worth checking out and completely free. I want to see the numbers up there. We've got 200 or so in there at the minute. It'd be lovely to get that to 300 tonight. So download the Flick Chat app as soon as the stream is over. Look in the description. Go on the Anfield Agenda Twitter account. Find it wherever you can. But do give it a try because it's a guarantee from me to you that you will like this app. It is fantastic. I'm hoping that we can eventually bring everybody onto there. We don't even have to go onto Twitter. That this becomes our little community when we're offline, because heaven knows you guys are so amazing when we're on here each night. I can only imagine if we got a chance to interact with each other more throughout the day, how much more fun it would be. So, you know, I've got lots of spare time on my hands. Right, what have we got? What have we got? Nobody cares about City. Nobody would watch it. Exactly. Steven Gerrard's the greatest ever player, in my opinion, says Leachy 2265. Craig, do you think we'll snatch Thiago? Yes, I do. I do think we'll get Thiago. Just joined the Flick group, said Mark. Thank you, Mark. And don't forget to use your 2 free cheer emojis, mate. Just look in the bottom right hand corner. You'll see a little cartoony type character in sunglasses. Click on that and you'll see them all. The reason that it's so cool is because they give each one of the users 50p or 50 cents worth of those. So 2 free emojis that you can tip us with, basically. So you get free money to give us a tip. It's cool. I love it. Should I watch the Tottenham show? I'm not going to watch it, but Connor's an interest in watching it. I don't really have any interest in watching the Spurs show. I love the Flick app, said Nageb. Anyone that's used it, man, anyone that's used it thinks the app is brilliant. Honestly, it's class. For the Flick group, do you have to support Liverpool or can anyone be in? Absolutely anyone, man. And it's not just about Liverpool. If you go onto the Flick chat app, you'll see there's chats there from most clubs. There's a Barcelona chat, United chat, Chelsea one. There's different... What's so great about the app is it allows us all to have our own little segment, our own little section on this cool app that we couldn't afford to build on our own. So that's why I like it so much. It's everything I would want to implement into an app if I built it, but it allows us to have access to that for free. So I love it. And when we're approached to work with the guys at Flick, I couldn't say yes quick enough. And trust me, I say no a lot. But this app is perfect. Great show, lad. You'll never walk alone, said Stephen Richards. Thank you very much, buddy. I really appreciate that positive feedback. Right, so one more thing. The club are looking to arrange another behind closed doors friendly at Anfield before the season gets underway on September the 12th. I don't know who that will be against. I've no more information on that as of yet. But it makes sense. I mean, there is roughly 2 weeks between the Community Shield and, well, actually 2 weeks between the Community Shield and the game against Leeds. So it would make sense that Klopp would want to give the players a run out, even though some players will be off on international duty, of course. There will still be quite a few there at Melwood. Like Jordan Henderson, as an example, could do with getting some minutes in his legs. Hasn't played a minute during pre-season yet in the 2 friendlies we've played. Or the Community Shield, of course. Trent as well, another one. The league is LFC's bread and butter, said Sanjal. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I've a love affair with the European Cup. That's the first trophy that I always want us to win. I wanted us to get the Premier League, obviously, to get that 30-year hoodoo gone, but I'm not going to lie. Champions League, European Cup, those nights at Anfield are just phenomenal. What have we got? Blackpool. What's all this about Blackpool? Who's gone to Blackpool? I'll let you all know if it gets Vinny P's seal of approval. I promise you, Vinny, you will love the app. What's this Blackpool being rumoured? I've missed something here and I'm trying to figure out what it is. Don't forget, by the way, if you have enjoyed the stream, folks, please do hit that subscribe button. We're on the march towards 50k. I've set myself a date in my head when I hope that we get there by. So if you want to support the channel, you don't have the ability to super chat or become a member. What you can do for us for absolutely nothing is join the Flick Chat app, hit the subscribe button, give the stream a thumbs up. Those 3 things, and we're happy days. We're on the pig's back. Oh, Liverpool playing a friendly against Blackpool. That's what we were talking about. Sorry. Thank you. That makes sense. Close enough to Liverpool as well. That makes sense. Do we need a backup goalkeeper, said Daniel Johnson. Well, at this moment in time, mate, we've got 4 at the club. So we've got young Kylian Kelleher, who's just been called up to the senior Irish squad. We've got Alisson, we've got Adrian, and we still have Karius. Now, the odds are that Karius is going to move on somewhere this summer. Where that is remains to be seen. Kylian Kelleher, perhaps a loan. But I would like to see us strengthen there, but I can't see it being this summer. The links to the goalkeepers that we have been linked to seem to have gone cold. Dara, thank you for the super chat, mate. So, considering 2 of our best players in VVD and Robbo spend time playing in Scotland, do you think that's an untapped market? It's a fair point. And look, there are people talking about that young centre-back at Celtic right now. Ajar, or I don't know how you pronounce his name. And I know nothing about the guy because I don't watch pretty much any Scottish football, if I'm being honest with you. I don't pay attention to Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, anybody up there. But yeah, there have been bargains there over the years. You've rightly pointed out Virgil van Dijk could have got him for, what was it, £12 million or something? That Southampton paid Celtic for him. And we end up paying 75. Robbo obviously was up there as well. Went to Hull. We got him when Hull got relegated. So yeah, there is always going to be some talent up there, and I've no doubt that there will be players that Liverpool scouts are monitoring. But I suppose it's that mix of, is the level at Scotland good enough to come directly from there into somebody who's defending the Premier League title and going to be playing in the Champions League? It's a big call to make, but there is definitely talent there. It's just a matter of having the courage to go, yep, we're not going to wait for him to take the next step. We're not going to wait for a move to a middling to lower Premier League club and then go in to get the deal done. If you can identify these people, which is what we're doing with the younger players, and get them at a reasonable price, coach them through the Liverpool way and bring them into the first team, then that's ideal. But I'm sure there are bargains there, but I'm just not the right man to point them out to you. Traore's for sale at 40 million. I don't believe that on car for 1 second, mate. The figures I've seen for Adama Traore are north of £60 million. But if he was available for £40 million, I would absolutely want us to be in the conversation. I just don't think he is at that price. I want to win the league because we'll be on the same amount of titles as United. I get that, Ginger Ninja, and Connor's the exact same. Connor wants to go past United's 20. But for me, I just love the European Cup. I absolutely love it. Been a hard stream for mods tonight, said Joanne. Our mods are amazing, so thank you to everyone. If you're looking for any questions from the moderators, John Hamilton is our lead moderator. He's doing this on a trial basis at the moment to just see if he's okay with it. But if you have any questions on the moderation side of things, if I can't answer them, John will answer them for you. But yes, our moderators are amazing, and again, the loyalty and support they show the channel are class. We're going to have to make a few of you guys moderators on Flick, by the way, because it's only moderators on there that can put up the polls and stuff like that. So again, we'll be making a few people moderators on there. I mean, I think Yusuf was made a moderator earlier on, actually. Look, ladies and gentlemen, it's been so much fun tonight as always. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Hopefully we'll be a little bit further along. Again, hit that subscribe button, give us a like on the stream, join the Flick Chat app. I'm going to check as soon as this stream's over to see how many of you guys have gone across there. Let me know your thoughts on what we've put up there at the minute, but most importantly, I want you all to be safe, be healthy. Today was the day my little dude started back in school. I'm not going to lie to you, I was a nervous wreck for the days building up to it, but he's happy. He's back to some form of normality, and I'm sure that there are kids in the UK and around the world as well getting back to school. So I wish you all happiness, health and prosperity, ladies and gentlemen. I'll talk to you amazing people tomorrow. Love each and every one of you. Thank you for your support. Up the